Go ahead. So, what are you waiting for? Questions? Yeah?
So for a layperson who's committed to the practice, but who's also living in the 21st century world with a highly competitive workplace and social media and mobile phones and all those distractions at their fingertips, what is the best they can hope to gain from meditation? Is it better life, or is there like a chance that they actually can go further and maybe even gain speed and everything? Just talking about the regular meditator without any like super capabilities.
Super capabilities. It always depends on the capabilities, that you have done, your pre-work that you have done in your previous lives, yeah? So, one who has done a lot of pre-work in his previous lives will have it easy, yeah, compared to others who have never done that, it's hopeless, yeah? But it is possible, yeah? If everything comes second, yeah, your life comes second, and number one is meditation. But of course, this distraction, terrible. No? What else do you have to do in your life?
Not that many things, actually.
Not that many things, yeah? Michelle?
I've already done my choice.
You've already done your choice. And the monks sitting here, have they done their choice? So, Raphael, it depends on, what you want to achieve, yeah? If you just want to make, this life, comfortable, and the next life, a little bit better, everybody can do that. Yeah. But, he should look out, for the 5 precepts, keeping the 5 precepts, yeah? Doing a lot of merit, yeah? Or being generous, yeah? Having respect, having gratitude, yeah? And trying to cleanse the mind, of the gross greed, yeah, of the hatred, yeah, not to dive into it. That makes, this life okay, and the next life probably better. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you get out of the hamster wheel. For the getting out of the hamster wheel, you have to cut the first 3 fetters, yeah. And the first fetter is the fetter of doubt, yeah. Doubt that there's karma, that there's results of karma, that there's good results and bad results. So maybe you should put, out a curtain, because some of you. That's not necessary. This one,
Sun is coming through this.
through this, yeah.
Through this.
Mostly through this, yeah. And a little bit, yeah. You should anticipate that, if there are clouds, yeah. I mean, if the whole sky is dark, I mean, the sun won't come out. That's okay. There's not so much wind. What else is in the first fetter of doubt? Yeah, in karma, there's the karma, and then there's, there's heaven and hell. Yeah, not believing in heaven and hell. You never get out of this. Yeah? Not believing, that there are beings in heaven and there are beings in hell. That is the first fetter. The second fetter is, I said, you keep the 5 precepts. Yeah. Not, one day keeping it and then another day, breaking it and then keeping it. That is the second fetter. And the third fetter is, I'm in the body. Yeah? Knowing or assuming that the body is us. Yeah? And this is something, you cannot do at home. Yeah? You have to, you have to leave the world behind for a while. Yeah? Until you finish. Yeah?
Because of the concentration, or?
Yeah, but no, because of the entanglement.
Oh, mm.
You have to work a little bit harder, just for this. Why do you think, people are in this world, and constantly rotating around, in the cycle of death and birth and death, yeah? Because they are entangled in this world. They're constantly, wanting something, desiring this, desiring that. And you know from your own life, you were never satisfied. You had one thing and then you wanted the next thing, yeah? You had the other thing and then you wanted another thing, yeah? And it's always driving you and driving you and driving you. And you have to let go of that for a while, yeah? Until you can reflect, what is the body for? Yeah? The body is a vehicle, yeah? It's like a car, yeah? We get into the car, we use it, and then we get out of the car once the car is broken down or it's just scrap, yeah? And then we try to get a new car because we can't stop driving, yeah? No matter how, no matter how this car is broken down, yeah, and it doesn't work, we still love to, yeah. Just ask people, who are 80 or 90 years old. They don't want, even the car is completely broken down. They can't stop living, yeah. I'm so amazed, when I ask 90 years old people, I want to become 100 or 110. They want to live, they constantly want to live, to, have this excitement, even if they don't have so much teeth anymore, they want the excitement of food, seeing this, seeing their grandchildren growing up and so on, playing with this, playing that, reading this, wanting to know this, wanting to know that, yeah. And that is one of the main obstacles, yeah. The first fetter, is relatively easy to overcome, yeah. The second fetter is, it's not so easy, but the moment you decide yourself, okay, I keep within the 5 precepts, it is relatively easily. But the third fetter is the most difficult one. Because that's what we assume. When we look at our life, it's always the body.
I find the first one, for a Western person, is not
Yeah,
really
for
that
Westerners, I mean, actually, if they're really Christians, I mean,
or even, if they're atheists or like, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. Then it's even.
then it is very difficult. For most of the Westerners, it is very difficult. But for a real Christian person who was brought up in Christianity and knows about hell and knows about heaven, I mean, and they also believe that there are beings in heaven and beings in hell, and they know, what you sow is what you reap, So, I mean, for them, for real Christians, it's not a problem. But because there are not any more real Christians, or very few of them, I mean, that has become a problem. Because, I mean, the God has been replaced by money, by power, That's a God, who creates this world, who has the power over this world, who rules this world, And that's a problem. Of course, atheists have a big problem, with the first fetter. Now, I mean, as a Buddhist, as a practitioner, I mean, with the first fetter, you will not have so much trouble, And if you come from a real Christian background, like, probably most of us, I mean, we don't have troubles with that. But atheists, I mean, they don't even come here to this meditation center. And if they come, if they go to meditation retreats, I mean, they go only, to have a happy time, And that's it, they don't even want to know about, I mean, because they think every kind of religion is a drug, For real Marxists, it would be a problem as well, But the problem is for us, I mean, if you come from this Christian background or Buddhist background, I mean, we don't have too much trouble with that.
It's safe for most people because it's not
Yeah.
something that you experience. Like,
Well, if you want to experience, I mean, you can,
Yeah, but you have to be more advanced.
Well, that depends on, It also depends on, it depends on your previous lives. What have you done in your previous lives? I mean, some of the people, even in the West, experience, I mean, what is the biggest hindrances for people in the West is to believe that there is this constant turning around, Not, not to believe, that there's heaven and hell. For the Christians, there's eternal heaven and there's eternal hell, But this constant turning around, that is the biggest problem for the Westerners, And because of that, they have no incentive, to go beyond, The moment they realize they are in the hamster wheel, well, if somebody realizes that he's in a hamster wheel and is constantly running around, not going anywhere, I mean, he certainly, has a motivation to get out. But as long as you don't believe in that, I mean, that there is rebirth. And actually, when you look at Christianity, I mean, there was rebirth. I mean, they tried to remove everything from the New Testament, but I mean, there was one interesting thing, I mean, that makes you wonder, When the disciples of Jesus asked Jesus when they saw a blind new baby born, they asked him if it is the guilt of the parents that the child was born blind, or if it is the baby's fault that it is born blind. How can it be the baby's fault if we believe the baby is a tabula rasa? And I mean, nobody thought about it. That's probably why it's still in the New Testament. Everything else has been moved to the apocryph text. What is it? Whatever. Apocryph, apocryph or something like that. I'm not that familiar anyway with it, But that will be the biggest hindrance for most of the Western people, yeah? Believing in rebirth, yeah? But once they get that, yeah, I mean, they are on the good track, yeah? But still, even if they have, even if they believe in rebirth, if they believe in heavenly beings, and even if they keep the precept, the body is still the biggest trouble, yeah? When you look at the body, when you look at the 4 stages of enlightenment, the body, keeps us, for 3 stages of enlightenment, yeah? Bothers us, Bothers us as worldling, bothers us as sotapanna, bothers us as sakadagami. The only person who has overcome the body is the, is the anagami or non-returner, yeah? Because he let go of the body, he will not come back into any of these worlds, neither heaven nor hell, yeah? So that is the biggest problem, and you really can't, or it is really very difficult. Probably some people can, if they have worked up in their previous lives nearly to enter Sotapanna, and then they just come to a meditation retreat, reflect about birth and death, reflect about the body. I mean, they can enter. If they haven't done that, if they haven't done the work in the previous lives, I mean, it is very hard work, yeah? It's not easy. And for that, I mean, you really have to withdraw and, I mean, constantly, reflect about the body, I mean, what is, I mean, there are other things, You only, I mean, for Westerners people, they only realize the body, realize that they have a body, even though, I mean, they live within the body, they realize that they have a body when they start meditation. Because then feel it, yeah? Most of the people, don't feel it, yeah? I said most, not everyone, yeah? Most of the people don't feel it, I mean, you run around, I mean, constantly after your desires, yeah? I mean, you don't notice the body until it starts breaking down, yeah? Then you notice it, But then you don't think about it twice because everybody else around has the same problems, yeah? So you don't think, I mean, that's a big deal, yeah? And that is the problem in the world, I mean, because we live with people, yeah, who have different views, and I mean, we normally orientate ourselves, towards other people, yeah? No matter if it is this group or that group, if it, they live, they have children, so we live, we have children, yeah? They get married, so we get married. They have a job, so we get a job. They have a house, so we get a house. Because we never really comprehend, what is life about. Yeah? If we comprehend what is life about, ask ourselves, what is the meaning of my life, yeah? Yeah? How did I end up in this family? How did I end up in this situation? Yeah? Then you don't want to think about it. Yeah? Because it's the answer doesn't come very quickly, yeah? How did I end up in this situation I am in? Yeah?
But how would you do that without it just being the mind like reflecting about it?
Well,
like looking at your life, or the purpose of your life with wisdom,
yeah?
it's not really such an easy thing to do because
No.
the moment you think about it, you just get like all kinds of different ideas
Yes.
thrown at you, and I mean, it's kind of hard to see which one actually makes sense.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, you cannot ask your mind because your mind is influenced, your mind is influenced by outside reality, yeah? Yeah. So, I mean, you see the people around you. I mean, when you look at the story of the Lord Buddha before he became the Buddha, I mean, how did he know that there's something else, than youth, than leisure, and all these things, yeah? But he was interested that, going outside of the gate of the palace, yeah? And then he saw a dead person, then he saw a sick person, then he saw birth, but that wasn't enough, yeah? Only, when he saw a samana, a recluse, then he got thinking, there are people, who living the life, no matter, they're born, they get sick, and they die, yeah. That's fine, the whole society is made out of these people. But there's actually a group of people who are recluses, yeah. And we had that in every, mostly every society, even in the Christian society, it was sometimes, a few hundred years quite big, yeah. These recluses, yeah? These eremites, who lived, solely, in another place, and distant from the world, yeah. So when you see that, then you get another perspective. That the life, that is lived outside of you is not everything, yeah. Why do these people choose, yeah, to live outside of the society? What are they doing? And then you go and ask them, yeah? Why do you live? What you're looking for? What is your answer? Yeah? Because then these answers are probably much better answers than the society can give you. Yeah? I remember when I wanted to go into homelessness, I had a very good friend, and so when I decided to go into it, I called him up, I had a phone call for 2 hours, and I told him, convince me that I should stay in this world. I just wanted to know how I am wavering, yeah? If my heart is wavering in any respect. He tried to convince me for 2 hours, and there was nothing that he said, that convinced me, that I should stay in the world, yeah? And then after that I knew, it's finished, yeah? I'm not going back in this world, yeah? But sometimes it's good, Yeah? Just ask, you can ask anyone, you can ask your parents, you can ask your brother or sister, if you have, or your very best friend, Ask me, what is there, what can the world give me, that is so exciting that my heart wavers, yeah? Otherwise, if you don't find anything, then you should start, the Lord Buddha gave us the path, then you should start slowly, slowly or fast treading on the path.
Today I spent a few hours looking at my life.
Yeah.
So I kind of did as you suggested in some other talks that I listened to. So I spent about 3 or 4 hours. I didn't cover everything yet. So I started at birth and then I did it at primary school, secondary school, university. And so I just looked at each episode and I tried to look from different angles at it. And externally it's actually all pretty good. No major issues, but I can feel that it's just full of misery in a way, or it's just
full of dukkha, yeah.
Full of dukkha. It's just so unsatisfactory. Even moments that I thought were really pleasant when I actually really look at it in more detail. Of course there's pleasant sensations.
Of course.
But there's just this underlying kind of sense of.
Not only underlying, I noticed that when you really look at a situation where you really thought you were happy, yeah, where everything was great, then I looked around, and I saw all these unhappy things, that were surrounded by, but you didn't see it because the feeling was good, yeah. And the moment you go back into this memory, you suddenly see it and say, it wasn't all that great.
Very sobering.
Yeah. So that's good, if you can do that, that is really sobering, yeah. And you have to do it not only once, you have to do it a few times, until the heart really understands that craving for these things, yeah, is useless.
Because I noticed, when I walk Shankaraman and doing sitting meditation, it's always certain topics that come up where the mind wants to look for refuge, something else. So I kind of made a list, and now I just kind of go through all things in my life, or people, or food, and this. I just try to sort of, maybe not fully destroy them, but at least give myself a different perspective, so that they are less tantalizing in a way.
Yeah, sometimes even, what we say, in student life, when we were students, and we we had a really great evening with a friend, yeah? We were talking and talking, discussing this and discussing that. Now when you look at it, I think, what's this all about? Yeah, but at that time you thought, oh, that was a great evening last night, wasn't it? Yeah, you asked your friend, and say, yeah, that was, it was really great, yeah. You really went into depth, philosophical depth, And then you look, a few years later and think, what is that, yeah? That is what the Lord Buddha said, our life is full of dukkha, yeah? Dissatisfaction. And whatever we tried out, there's no lasting satisfaction to be found, yeah? If you look at your life, you will see it. There's no lasting satisfaction. Maybe, some of the satisfaction lasted, for a few hours and then it was gone, our moods are changing, day by day, yeah? You don't have a constant mood, that is going through the day, yeah? Even here in meditation, you see it much more quickly, Yeah, it can change from 1 hour to the next, the first hour you meditate and it's wonderful. And the next hour you go in, it's... So that is the thing for you to find out, what you want from life, yeah? Now that you have a different perspective, you actually looked up, the samanas, yeah? People who behave differently than the rest of the world, yeah? There are not so many, but there are some, yeah? And what kind of concept do they have on life? Why are they doing that, Why do we restrain ourselves from all these pleasures, yeah? That normal people go for, yeah? The pleasure of food, the pleasure of sex, the pleasure of, power, yeah, comfort, yeah? Oh, that's what you struggle with, comfort. Yeah, but what is this comfort, yeah? Look at it, when, think about going to a 5-star hotel, all what you find there is a bed. And a bathroom, yeah? And maybe a nice view, if it is a nice hotel, it has a nice view of the town. But, you look at it once, and then you think, okay. The comfort to eat anytime we want to eat, the comfort, to drink anytime we want to drink, or drink that, what we decide. But when you actually have it, it just tastes like anything else. But we delude ourselves, it's different. Yeah? And that's, what's constantly creeping up in our heart, if I had this, Just like, Amata, from one day to the next, he decided to disrobe, and now he sees, it was a big mistake. Because he didn't get what the kilesas promise us, yeah? And then you never get what the kilesas promise us, yeah? You find happiness if you do this, and then you do this and you don't find happiness. You didn't do it right, and you know how they deal with us, yeah? You should have done it like this, and then, they constantly, it's just like jelly, You try to grab it and it goes out of your hand. Then you try to grab it again, yeah? Jellyfish, yeah? Constantly moves out, and they constantly, yeah. And they keep us, with this hope, that when I do it rightly, and then I really find happiness. Yeah?
This time it's going to work, for sure.
Yeah. And you see it in your meditation. It's the same thing, they try to correct this. You should sit like this, and then it's going to work. Or you should, concentrate like this, and then it's going to. It has nothing to do with it, yeah? The thing that, that is important is that whenever the mind goes out, we just pull it back. That's the only thing, yeah? You don't have to sit in a certain position, for be able to do that. Yeah? You don't have to pull the mind back in a certain position. You just put it back to the Buddha or, to the breath. Yeah? That's it. Yeah? But this constructing is constantly going on, and it sometimes drives us mad. Because, why? Because the meditation is not as great as the last one. Yeah? That's why we try to change things, and I should get it. Yeah? And that means, we are lost in our expectations, or we are lost in the past. Yeah? The past will never occur. Yeah? That what we experienced yesterday will never come again. Yeah? Because that is the nature of, this universe. Things constantly change. Yeah? No matter, if it's a big change or a small change. Sometimes it's a big change. Most of it is a small change. And to us it looks similar, but it's never the same. Even the calm that you experience in meditation, each time it's different. That's why it becomes so interesting once we get going. It never becomes boring, looking at the breath. It cannot become boring. Yeah? Because the breath has its own rhythm, it changes, from rough, to fine, yeah, and from subtle, to rough again, and so on. It constantly changes. Yeah? So making something constant in our meditation is a big problem. Yeah? We should let go of this control. That we constantly like to control the breath or control the Buddha, yeah, and just observe the Buddha. Yeah? Because the more we can observe the Buddha, the closer we are to the one who knows. Yeah? You know the thoughts. By now, something there is, that knows that there is a thought, that knows that there is a feeling. Yeah? And the more you go back to that one who knows, the happier you actually become. Because the one who knows doesn't care, what he knows, yeah? It just knows. It's very objective, yeah? But the kilesas are constantly trying to undermine our effort, yeah? Constantly painting pictures, yeah? And then we are in dreams, if I reach this in my practice, I do this, then I go and become a teacher. Yeah? Everyone has the same. Yeah, we are really. When you look at it, once you understand yourself, you understand how everybody else works. Yeah? Everybody has the same idea. Yeah? It's such a burden, to become a teacher. Yeah? But people who don't, they just look, and see, he's sitting in a very comfortable position, high position, everybody looks up to him, and that's what we want. So, we should realize that's what we want, yeah? What do we want? We want to be recognized, yeah? And that is a desire, yeah? And when you look at your life, whatever you did, if you didn't get any recognition from anyone, you let it go. Because it wasn't desirable. You did things, to become recognized by other people or praised by other people. Yeah? That was your motive for doing these things. Yeah? People want to become famous because they are praised by other people. Yeah? But with praise also comes blame. Yeah? There is not only praise, there's also blame. Yeah? You have to go beyond that, in order not to be affected by this. People, why do people love power? Because they are praised, and people put them on the, yeah, put them on the idol or whatever you call it. What is it? A statue on the what? Pedestal. Yeah, put you on the pedestal, and then once they put you on the pedestal, all what they're trying to do is remove you from the pedestal. It's always the same. Yeah? You're on the pedestal, they admire you for a little while, and then they try to remove you. Yeah? And so what? Yeah. But that is life, yeah? There's nothing, when you look at history of, the history of this world that we know, it's always, yeah? Everybody, everybody who was a master of a great, great kingdom or empire, in the end, he had to go because people, wanted his position. Yeah? And when you look especially at European history, you know, at the kings and the queens, yeah, I mean, it was a constant struggle, you know, who got the position. Yeah? So you're in the position, you know, I mean, you enjoy it for maybe a few years, you know, and then somebody, you know, takes you off the pedestal. And it's the same, you know, no matter if you're a king, you know, or if you're the CEO, yeah. I mean, there are lots of people under you who want to get to this position, yeah. They fight for this position, yeah. Once they're up there, you know, other people, you know, go and try to remove you. Yeah? I mean, that is what is life, you know. And when you think about it, I mean, it's so much dukkha, you know, just to get up to this position, you know, it's so much dukkha, yeah. You have to please others, you know, you have to speak and you have to be, yeah, some sort of clever, yeah. That doesn't come, you know, and what did you get, yeah, in the end, yeah? Nothing is lasting, no position is lasting. When the heart doesn't move, that is lasting, yeah. And we enjoy that so much, yeah. I mean, why do we deprive ourselves, yeah? What, Tan Alex? Why do we deprive ourselves of this, you know, of this joy? Why do we constantly go out in thoughts, you know, if we do this or if we become this, you know, then we would be happy. We know, yeah? I mean, if you practice a little bit, we know. I mean, when we become happy, when the mind is completely calm. When there's no more thoughts and no more upheaval, yeah? No more eruptions in the heart. That's when we are happy. That's all what it needs. Yeah? But yeah, I mean, the kilesas constantly try to undermine our effort. Yeah?
But this kind of happiness is always placed on the other side when there's a lot of pain and effort in between, like in the...
I mean, look at the effort in between, you know, when you try to get your degree. Yeah. Huh? I mean, you know, in meditation we say, oh, it's so, you know, it's so hard, you know. But when we look, you know, at worldly things, you know, some people, you know, who really work hard, yeah, who work hard, who own a shop, you know, and enlarge a shop, you know, because they're clever, you know, and sell more. I mean, it is so much dukkha. You know, they only think about, you know, extending their businesses and growing and growing and growing. And with each grow, you know, I mean, they encounter more problems, yeah?
But to protect everything.
Yeah, that's the problem, yeah? I mean, how much effort did we put in, you know, learning to walk, yeah? Learning to talk, yeah? I mean, when you reflect about the birth, look how much effort you put in learning to talk, yeah? If you remember how you learned to walk, yeah? And how much pain was there? Huh? You remember that? Yeah? When you fell over, when you hit your head and you cried and your mother said, oh, okay, you have an ice cream, you know. And then you tried again, and then you tried again. Each time you fell, you know, you hit yourself, yeah? And that was painful, yeah? But we didn't give up, yeah? Because we wanted to learn. Huh? The same thing with talking, you know. I mean, we said something, we wanted to say something and nobody understood us. You know, what kind of frustration is that? I remember a lot of frustration in this respect, yeah. So much frustration, you know, I mean, because, yeah, why don't they understand, you know? When I was a baby, couldn't talk, they understood everything, yeah? When I started to talk, they suddenly don't understand. Because, I mean, the human ear, the moment they hear sounds, you know, I mean, it switches to a completely different cognitive sense, yeah? Yeah, so when you say, you know, meditation, of course, it's a lot of effort and there's a lot of dukkha. Of course it is. Like everything in this world, yeah? I mean, just think about, you know, I mean, even if you don't want to get out of the cycle of death, birth and death, yeah? I mean, it is so much effort because, I mean, you don't get anything for free. If you want to become rich, you know, you have to become generous, yeah? If you want to become, you know, handsome, you know, or beautiful, you know, I mean, you have to serve others. Yeah? If you want to be renowned, if you wanted to earn respect or become in a high position, you have to support these people in this life, Huh? I mean, how much more effort is that, Just to get, to a position. I mean, all these leaders in the world, did that before that. They did that not only for one life, for 10 lives, for 100 lives, yeah? They would have never be able to get in the position of a leader of a country, yeah? It's not by chance, people elect people, who have this kind of karma, yeah? And that's the same thing for a teacher, Not everybody can become a teacher, yeah? There are some good teachers, yeah? When you went to university, there were some great professors, who really could, inspire, and teach you what you and you understood, yeah? And there were others, you didn't even know what they were saying, yeah? So, it's the same with physicists, it's the same in every kind of profession. In the medical profession, there are doctors, on the spot, tell you, and they're 95% of the time they're right, yeah? And there are others, who look up in the book, and do guesswork, yeah? Maybe you try this, oh, it doesn't help. Maybe you try that, it doesn't help. Maybe you try that, At the end, you're worse off, than before. And that is most of the doctors, yeah? Or look like musicians, yeah? Not everybody can play in the London Symphony Orchestra or in the Berlin Symphony Orchestra, in the Wiener Symphony Orchestra. They have to be really talented, yeah, to play there. And they didn't get it, from youth, yeah? So everything that we want is hard work, And now you complain, that meditation is hard work.
Not complaining, just...
Yeah. just stating, yeah. Just stating a fact. Yeah, of course it is hard work, yeah. Would be nice, if it is easier. But for some people it is easier. The moment you're interested in something, when you have really a hobby, where you really, where you're really completely interested, no matter how hard it is, you don't even notice that it's hard. So make meditation your hobby number one, and you won't have any troubles while you're smiling, huh?
That's in the day.
Huh?
That's in the day.
It's not the first time I mention it.
The hobby,
Yeah?
first interest, yeah, but the hobby is different. Like this every time.
But the thing is, like in my personal experience, when I first started meditating, a lot of things seem to happen much more easily. Like I got into it felt like much deeper states of like concentration and just bliss, and like the whole body was dissolving. Just happened after a few days, and just so easy, just came all by itself. And then of course, you compare and you try to go back, and then you just kind of end up just struggling with like mundane things,
and that is the problem, yes, of course, it was easy in the beginning. And why was it easier? Because we had no expectations. And now the longer you do, the more expectations you have, yeah? And that's why you said, instead of, hanging in the past, live in the present moment, yeah? No matter if it is easy or not easy, yeah? And you will notice it, if you compare it then, after a while, after a few years, yeah? When you look back, and not only at the meditation itself, but how you viewed the world, how things were there, how easily, you could get not offended, huh? Then you see that there's some progress, yeah? That you actually get deeper, yeah? But of course, in day to day, we don't notice it, and we think, oh, why is it, why is the Madi, where's the bliss, And not knowing that this question just, hinders our progress. Because we're actually not with the breath, or we're not with the Buddha, or we're not with the investigation. And the investigation, of course, is tough, yeah? investigation and reflection is very tough, yeah? But that is what changes it. Yeah? This is what really changes our life, yeah? Showing the heart, what it does, yeah? And the heart is the only one who can make good decisions, yeah? When it sees, it constantly holds its hand in the fire. What happens, if you put your hand in the fire? You let it there? You don't have to tell the hand to get out, yeah? But if your hand is, on the right side in the fire and you constantly look left, you never see that your hand is on fire, then of course, all these things that occur, are the cause for your pain, yeah? And what we do in meditation is we look back into ourselves and see that the hand is on fire. And the moment the heart sees it, it withdraws it, yeah? That's the letting go function of the heart, yeah? But we cannot go directly to the heart because, the heart is blocked off, yeah? So we slowly have to open the heart, find the contact to our heart, and show the heart, very often in my meditation or my practice, I looked at something, and then said and told my heart, "You see what you're doing?" And the heart said, "No." How don't you see it? Yeah? And then I had to do it another time, and another time, maybe 100 times, maybe 1,000 times, until the heart was ready to see it. Once the heart was ready to see it, it let go. The heart is not willing because, it is occupied by the kilesas. And if the heart doesn't see it, completely, yeah, just a part of it, it don't let go. Yeah? And that is the difficult thing. Yeah? Yeah?
Can we evaluate the progression when Nibida or Samvega is increasing?
Somewhat?
Nibida or Samvega?
Beka.
Nibida, Samvega.
What is that?
It's by word, but
Samvega, Lunka, isn't it? Samvega. When we are less and less interested by things.
maybe disenchantment.
Oh, disenchantment.
Not disgust, but...
Yeah, no, disenchantment.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But, that happens only very slowly, And the more often we look at it, the deeper it becomes, yeah. But it's not yet on the stage of letting go, because the heart doesn't see, the disenchantment becomes more and more and more, until the heart really understands, there's no good in it, yeah. The heart doesn't know, that is the problem. Yeah? So we have to practice this, teaching the heart. Yeah? Show the heart, see what you're doing, you understand what you're doing, and you will instantly get the reply, no. Yeah? For instance, you sit in meditation, and the practice is very difficult, and you drift off in dreams, And then you realize I'm drifting off in the dreams, and then you ask your heart, do you see what you're doing? It will instantly say no. Yeah? You have to, then you have to, well, what was it good for, Look at it again, and look at it again, the first time. Or tell yourself, next time, before I drift off, I know what is coming before that drifting off, yeah? What kind of thoughts, what kind of feelings, what kind of memories are coming up that, that initiates, yeah, this rolling off. Because it's not one moment, you're concentrated, and the next moment you're gone. No, it's never like that. It is very slow, actually, yeah? And the only way how I could catch it is constantly asking what came before that, yeah? And of course, the first time you don't realize, because, I was with my object and then I was gone, yeah? But then slowly, okay, now next time, I want to, I really want to see what is triggering it to go out, yeah? And if you do that more and more often, you will see it, it becomes slow play, just like slow motion, Just like a jumper, when you see him jumping, boop, 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 You don't know what is happening. But when you play it in very slow motion, I mean, you see the movements of each muscle, you know, I mean, and then you understand. Yeah? And that's the same thing. Yeah? I mean, our mind or our heart is so quick, you know, I mean, it seems to be from 1 second to the next second, something happens. Suddenly I get tired, you know. Suddenly? That cannot happen suddenly. Yeah? I mean, it was long programmed. Most of the time, you know, these things start 5 minutes before it actually happens. Yeah? There comes, you know, the kilesas creep in, maybe, yeah, and you don't notice that. And then 2 minutes later they come, it wouldn't be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah? And you don't care about it, you know, I mean, you just with your Buddha, you know, not really paying attention. And then 1 minute later it comes again, you know, and each time it gets a little bit stronger until, you know, suddenly you think, oh, I mean, before I was with my Buddha, now I'm with this, you know, I mean, what happened? Yeah? You have to ask yourself what happened. Yeah? You have to find interest, you know, and to make a slow motion, you know, and actually see what is happening. It prepares you, yeah? And that's how we can catch it, you know, and then the first time, you know, we see it coming, no. And then it doesn't work anymore, yeah. They come with something else, yeah, but, you know, that doesn't work anymore, yeah. That's how we can, you know, cut it down. Yeah?
So this actually gives us a choice.
Of course.
When we see it, we finally have a choice, because when it just runs in the background,
yeah.
it's like an automated...
And that is why we need the sati. Yeah. That is what sees, yeah. That is what knows, yeah. Of course we have a choice every moment, yeah. But we don't see it, you know, because, I mean, we are in autopilot mode, yeah. And in autopilot things are working, yeah. Just running, yeah. Just like your Windows PC is running, or your Mac, you know, whatever you have, yeah. Understood? Questions answered? Yeah? So, make meditation your hobby number 1. Huh? There's nothing else, you know, I mean, just, you know, just imagine, yeah? And sitting there, you know, in your kuti, you know, wherever you are, in your kuti, there's nothing else, then, you know, I mean, either samatha or vipassana. I was in, you know, in the beginning, I was in one meditation center in England, you know, and there was a nice saying, you know, there's nothing else than breathing in and breathing out. And I saw this and said, that's quite right. And if you imply that, then there's really nothing else than breathing in, breathing out. Everything else, you know, is outside, you know, it's outside entertainment. Yeah? But you have to come to the stage, you have to understand it, yeah? I mean, yeah, most of us, you know, understand it, yeah, of course, yes, and then we go on with our life. It has to actually trickle down to the heart. Once the heart understands it, actually there is nothing else, yeah? I mean, from the moment we are born, we breathe. Until the day we die, we breathe, you know? And all what we do is breathe in, breathe out, yeah? That's why I try to picture, you know, in some of the talks, I mean, I give mostly to lay people. Yeah, I mean, we wake up, we eat something, we do something, we eat something, we go to sleep. Since the day we are born. Just the doing, we have a million different names for that. Yeah? We do washing, we don't like it, you know? I mean, we cutting food we're cutting food, you know, for making a good meal. That we like, yeah. We don't like to wash up, you know, I mean, it's the same kind of movement. So we're doing something, but we call it differently, and with this calling differently, we dislike it or like it, yeah. And that's where the whole problem starts, yeah. But actually, you know, it's nothing else, you know, we get up, yeah. And some of us, you know, when they get up, they don't want to get up. It's already dukkha starting. The whole day starts with dukkha. I don't want to get up. And then they eat something, yeah, and they wash their body, you know, doing something, eat something, doing something, eat something, doing something, go to sleep. Huh? this has to trickle down into the heart to see. Once the heart sees it, and the more the heart understands it, the more you become disenchanted from this world. And there's no matter if you're on holiday or if you're in the work life, it's the same thing, same routine. Yeah? Get up, eat something, do something, eat something, do something, sleep. Yeah? We don't like to hear it, I know. But that's the way, huh? But our dreams are much better, In our dreams we don't get up, we don't eat something, we just do. Yeah? Okay.